Hello there. Welcome. So, no video yesterday. Sorry about that, but we are back with Alpha Tauri. Hopefully back to more normal upload schedule now. And, well, we can continue where we left off. We are currently about to get into Japan. And we might be able to finish the second season this episode, but there's a few races remaining, so probably going to be a little bit difficult. We have a very healthy lead here over Red Bull, so although Verstappen does just be 50 points behind us, if we have a couple of bad races, it could actually fight for the championship. But I think we do have the constructors for the team in hand. The more risky one is, of course, the drivers' championship. If you have enjoyed this series so far, please like and subscribe. Helps me out a ton. And yeah, let's get into it. Our car currently is suffering a bit of inspection woes, so let's go ahead and fix that right away. And we'll do the same for the other here, and then we'll of course replace those parts because, well, we're gonna have to. Now, other than this, we are pretty good right now, honestly. So let's just continue. Sidepod research has completed. I believe I deliberately stopped here so we could have a look at the rules and regulations where we are for the side pods. They are caught up very nicely. Chassis is almost caught up as well. Have a look at the front wing, a little bit of a boost. Rear wing, no boost so far. Underfloor, no boost. Suspension, getting this one up could actually be pretty important, so we might want to focus a little bit more on that. But we actually kind of are. So what we are actually going to do is probably get another sideboard research going. The CFD and wind tunnel hours here, I think we're going to put into the chassis again. We could potentially use them here again, as it would give us quite a, significant boost. But the chassis is kind of lacking to begin with, so I think we are going to be putting CFD and wind tunnel hours into the chassis. They basically just need them to catch up, so that is going to be the plan there. We are going to be able to do that in just 4 days though, so we can see exactly what kind of gains we're getting. So I'm thinking we'll do that, see where we're at. And the research has completed for both pieces there, the chassis and the front wing, which is good. We also had a factory fire that shuts down manufacturing projects, which honestly is okay. A little bit of a problem, but not something we can't handle. And let us have a look here. We go ahead and maybe, as I said, want to put safety and wind tunnel now into the chassis here. See how it affects it, because again we were a little bit behind. That'll give us about 6% in both. Decent amount of well, not a decent amount, okay amount of stats here, but will we get more if we say invest into a rear wing or underfloor? Let's have a look, because the rear wing is kind of limited too and what it can do for cornering, so this will probably give us more just overall, honestly. But seeing that we're in September, we have one more ATR period after this. I think we'll put it into the chassis, and then we can put the, final ATR period into either the underfloor here, which actually gives us a very healthy amount of stats when it comes to cornering. Not that much, honestly, but still, feels good. I think we'll do chassis. It's either that or front wing, honestly, because I think that'll give us more than if we did underfloor in terms of cornering, and it will. So we have a couple of options here on what we want to do, but I think, as I said, we'll do chassis so that we make sure that we catch up on science, catch up on the research, so we don't fall behind. And I think that is worth it here in this case. So we'll go ahead and do just that. Now the other project here, it was front wing last time around. I think we might do a couple of rear wing projects here. we have very high DRS effectiveness. It isn't necessarily, well, very necessary, but we would like to get a little bit more in, you know, the other stats here. So let's do a rowing project, maybe another full project as well, and that should be good enough for us to place ourselves further up. So one driver in the top 5. Again, it just feels more reliable, particularly when we have had as many incidents as we've had lately. I've had a lot of people say that I should just bin Tsunoda. But honestly, Tsunoda has been doing fairly okay, even with the slow controller. If we can get this a little bit up here, he shouldn't be crashing as much. And also, I believe that most of the crashes have been on weekends where he has had that lowered control, which honestly is very unlucky. It's basically about 20 or so percent of the races of the season. He will have lowered control due to you know, penalties, so to speak. And well, that really is just not really his fault. It's unlucky, is what it is. So we'll keep him for now. Again, he is developing nicely. He's 85 now, halfway, well, a little bit of 2/3 through season 2. So if he continues developing like this, he's going to go pretty high pretty quick. So we'll see exactly what we do here. Also, the pace long runs here is kind of reaching its end in terms of what we want to focus on. So once I think cornering and smoothness here, well, cornering and reactions start, well, cornering mainly hits 92. We're going to be switching over to probably wet track, maybe. We'll see. I'm a little bit unsure actually what we want to do. Probably wheel to wheel with mainly braking control focus. I think that'll be okay. But let's go to Japan and see how we do. Well, it is over. As you can see, we qualified 3rd and 4th. We did have a wet qualifying here, so we only got in 1 run. Or we, well, came a little bit too wet. So this probably reflects the, well, where our car really is compared to Leclerc and Verstappen. We are a few tenths behind. Mercedes here, 5th and 6th. We have Piastri with a surprising 7th, but he's taking penalties, so that's going to hurt. And then we have Show in 9th. So, bit of a shocker here for the other, well, Red Bull Ferrari drivers, but that is how it goes sometimes. And we'll just have to live with it. Now, for the race itself, we are getting no rain, most likely. And what I'm thinking is that we're going to do something like this for Rick. Well, not like this, to be fair, like this. As you can see here, it will afford him a little bit of a better race time. We could also go just aggressive on the soft stint there. I think it's better to just burn the soft tires down as much as possible, pit onto a fresh set of mediums, and then work from there. It could also be better that we start on the medium tire, honestly, and I think we will. Basically, that is the wrong soft tire. Basically, let's do it like this. Do something like this. We start on the medium, we go on to another medium, and then we go onto the soft tire. That could work too, for sure. Give it a chance to snatch fastest lap, and also it should just make it easier once we actually do pit, because we'll be been out for longer. There should be some better gaps to work with, so that is why I'm thinking we'll do it like this. It should be better all around. Now, Tsunoda doesn't actually have the benefit of doing something like this, because he doesn't actually have 2 sets of mediums. And if you just have a quick look here on the tires themselves, we will see that the soft tires have a pretty decent advantage here. They'll be quicker for, what is that, 5 tenths worth? 5 tenths, almost 16, 17 laps. So they definitely are going to have a huge advantage here. Medium to hard, on the other hand, mediums are going to be quicker for about 15 laps. So it's not too big, but at the same time, there's just 53 laps here. So we kind of want to, if we can, avoid that hard tire. Doing a 2-stopper could be viable. It is, just as you can see here, just a standard 2-stopper is a second slower than doing a 1-stopper. So what I am thinking that we do here might be try something like this, which just barely is going to kind of work here, that we run all 3 stints on aggressive. Might need to chill out a little bit on the start of the medium stint here, just to make sure that we can actually survive it. But I think that's what we're going to do for Tsunoda, and I think that is a decent strategy. Now, Tsunoda has a damaged car part here. It's his gearbox. He's going to have to run with that for probably a race or so. Because, again, he is running out of gearboxes. So we'll go ahead and use this one for this race, and then we'll probably delegate it to practice only, I think. But yeah, these are the strategies that we're going to go with. Different strategies for both cars, which should help out with, of course, the pit stops. And we will, of course, attack, push, and deploy at the start.
We're all good to go. The drivers are warmed up. They're ready to go here at the Japanese Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Lights out, away we go. Looks like Tsunoda is already attacking Leclerc. Got a pretty good start there. We'll take that. Rick is holding on to his place by the look of things, although the Mercs are definitely on the aggressive side. And as you can see, yeah, Verstappen is on softs, older ones, same for Hamilton. There are a lot of medium runners. We have Piastri back here running, unfortunately also use softs. He really did get kind of shafted with the starting strategy, I guess.
And slow down, Yuki, slow down.
Now, since we have kind of gotten ourselves into semi-safe positions here, we're going to tune down the tires already a little bit. Honestly, it's just because I don't think we are going to be overtaken or overtake anyone on this these few opening laps. And if we look to be in danger of falling out of DRS, we will push. But right now it is looking fairly safe and consistent. So Rick is, Tsunoda is probably going to be running with Verstappen, both of them on softs. Rick is probably going to be fighting Leclerc. And as you see right now, there's no real gaps forming here, which there's going to be a bit of a problem once we actually end up pitting Tsunoda. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of a change to that. There is a gap forming now with Leclerc and Rick, which honestly isn't that much of a surprise. So we'll just speed things along here. Again, I don't think too much will happen. We'll have Rick running with Leclerc. We'll have Tsunoda potentially running with Verstappen here, although as you can see, he is falling a little bit behind. That is actually completely okay right now, because Verstappen is going to stop pushing at one point, and we do have a bit of a tire advantage. So as you can see, we are probably going to catch him fairly soon. So I wouldn't be too worried on that. We are going to be pushing fuel here to about 1.2, maybe 1.5, somewhere in between there. And we'll see where we're at once we approach that first pit stop of ours. But it's been a good start to the race so far. And there have been a few gaps there forming that will definitely make our life a little bit easier come pit stop time. We have immediately had a bit of an incident here. Multiple cars have crashed. Pretty common for Japan, honestly. And it's Russell and I believe it's Ocon. Oh. Russell just barely survived there. That did look a tad weird though, I'll be honest. Looked like he just got dragged along. So yeah, they got kind of relegated a little bit there. We now have a huge gap down to show. So honestly, that helps us out a little bit, but as you can see, we're still with our current cars. Could probably, tell them to go a little bit more aggressive. Toggle on the ballast assist to make our life a little bit easier as well. But for now, as I said, we'll just keep things running until that first pit stop.
We can push flat out on tires.
We're getting very close to that first pit stop window of ours. As you can see, Tsunoda is basically there. Tire degradation has been as high as we expected. So what I'm thinking is that we're going to actually tune Rick up. Rick has actually overtaken Leclerc, as you can see, a few seconds ahead. Verstappen has pitted. He ended up into a DRS train here with Perez. So hopefully we can actually beat that with Tsunoda. That's going to be the hope. If we're going to be able to pull that off, though, it's going to be a different matter entirely. But it does seem very promising that we might just be able to, potentially get that done. But again, it's going to be a bit of a close one. Yeah, I think. Yeah, we're not getting it done. We'll come out just by Perez, I think. Oh, we actually did manage to yeet ourselves out just in front of him. That gives us a lot of free air for Tsunoda, and that saves us a lot of time versus Verstappen, who's now kind of stuck further back. So staying out of Tsunoda definitely worked out for him. We are going to run an attack here on Rick, because as you can see, the tires are surviving better than expected. So there is no reason for us not to take advantage and run them a little bit here on full attack. Now, fortunately, know that we do have Alonso and Sainz ahead of us here and a little bit of a DRS kerfuffle. But honestly, I think we'll be fine. Confidence is just about very high, so we could go a little bit more aggressive if we really wanted to. But I think we'll just try and use ERSA now to get by. And there we go. Tsunoda gets 1. And then Tsunoda gets 2, I assume.
Let's have a look.
I'm actually a little bit curious how that overtake looked.
Can they squeeze by?
Okay, so he just powers through on the inside. Very nice. Tsunoda should be getting, of course, Sainz with DRS. Should be no problem. Again, these all of these have worse tires than us at the moment, so we should have a lot of have a pretty easy time to just get by. And as you can see, Tsunoda is just 6 seconds behind Leclerc now, even with a pit stop. Rick had a lockup, but by looks of it, didn't really cost him anything, except for, of course, tire life, which isn't too bad.
By the looks of things, we're at turn 15 now. The brakes couldn't cope. Just unable to control the car by that point.
Did probably lose quite a bit of time there. Not really. As you can see, he lost about a second, maybe 2. But we are going to get him in now and put him onto a fresh set of mediums. We kind of have to. It's just how it be. And it's not really a problem. Now, Tsunoda here actually is still fighting Stroll. Don't think it'll be for long, though. Let's be honest. And already there, we kind of are getting closer to that pit stop ahead that we need to be of Leclerc. So, yeah, I'd say so far it's looking good. Rick comes out in a load of free air. So, it's looking very, very promising so far. But yeah, we'll move ahead and we'll see if we have some incidents happen. Or if we can keep things going kind of peacefully until that second pit stop. Tsunoda had a bit of a lockup too here. It happened the second I pressed 1. Interesting enough, so it caught me kind of off guard. But he had a bit of a lockup there. That did cost a lot of tire wear, so we're going to have to tune him down as well. But currently, we are looking to be in a very promising position. Did lose about 3 or 4 seconds from that lockup. But again, it's not too bad. Can still make this somewhat work. We're just going to have to tune him down. Verstappen is about to pit fairly soon. He is running just old softs. Stroll and Russell here running even older tires, but they're probably going for the 1-stop, medium to hard, I would assume. Or they might be going even wilder, going medium to soft 1-stopper, which would be a tad extreme. But as you can see, Rick has already caught up to Verstappen. We have about a pit stop on him, basically now. Well, he needs to pit. And I would assume that he's going to go in the hards, which will make our lives a lot easier. For Tsunoda, yeah, as I said, we also have to just run it standard. We're kind of forced to because of the lockup. But generally now it's looking really, really promising for us. We also have Norris here running in 5th. He shouldn't have to pit again. So it could be some good points here for McLaren, surprisingly enough. But yeah, we've had a couple of incidents already this race. Luckily, nothing too major. Rick has now caught up to Verstappen, and we are going to want to, you know, get away from Verstappen. So I think that what we're going to do is actually recharge a little bit. And then we'll go a little bit more aggressive on the push. Just in a little bit here. So we can actually, you know, get away from him. So we'll do that on next lap. See if we can get Rick up to Tsunoda. Have him kind of act as a pulley of sorts. And that should make our lives a little bit easier. Now, since Verstappen didn't overtake us there, we'll just go ahead and push. Again, Verstappen is on very, very broken tires. So getting away from him shouldn't be that difficult. Perez has crashed. Well, got a penalty at least. What exactly happened here?
We've had a crash. What happened there?
Did he actually take out Norris? Kind of. Oh. Yeah, that's gonna suck for Norris there, honestly. Could have been good points for McLaren. And Perez just said no. That's illegal. But yeah, we're going to have our drivers running with each other right now, so I think we're just going to do this. Tune them both down on the aggression scale, because the only people they really should need to overtake at this point will be teammates. Leclerc, of course, is going to be one, but that is for after we pit. Leclerc's on older hards. Verstappen has gone on to mediums, so we're probably going to have to overtake Verstappen too later on. Right now we are happy with where we are, and we'll push along to that final pit stop where both drivers will be on softs. So even with alternate strategies, we kind of end up at the same ending point, interestingly enough. Now, I am tempted here to just tell Tsunoda to don't fight your teammate, and the reason for that is very simple. Rick is quicker out of the two, for sure, yeah. He has more left in tires, he can run aggressive. Hopefully we can have Tsunoda kind of get pulled maybe, but I'd have to slow down Rick for that. Excuse me. I'd have to slow down Rick for that, and honestly, I think it's better to not take the risk of having them running close to each other, seeing that they both have already locked up into the you know, final corners. Well, the couple of final corners here. So we're going to allow Rick to go, just because, well, Rick is fighting for the championship win with Verstappen, so the points gained here could be very valuable. But yeah, we'll speed things up here now to the pit stop, just a few laps out. We are going to be pitting Tsunoda this lap. He's going to have to run these softs not too hard, but still decently hard. And we should probably come out here maybe ahead of Sainz, if we're lucky. So, yeah, I think we'll be able to beat Sainz pretty clear here. So at least we're out into a lot of free air. We can hunt down Leclerc, we can hunt down Verstappen and work from there. Leclerc is on old hards, so I'm kind of surprised that he's actually kind of catching Verstappen after Verstappen overtook him. But I guess it's also kind of as expected. Now, with Rick here, we are going to be pushing a couple more laps so we can go fully aggressive. We're also going to go ahead and harvest a little bit here. Well, we're basically full already. And we're going to be going for basically setting the fastest lap immediately after pitting. We are going to come out basically alongside Leclerc, fortunately. So, it would be nice to have a little bit more of a gap here. But it is what it is. We're going to push for one more lap. And then we're going to be pitting onto these softs, which should be a lot quicker than any other tire right now. Particularly also Verstappen's, who's getting down there in terms of durability. So, let us see if we can have a, you know, painless pit stop. And we should be able to, let's be honest, because our pit crew is basically maxed out at this stage. So we should be coming out maybe just ahead of Tsunoda. Yep, basically, we do. We actually beat Leclerc out as well, which is even more massive. And we are going to do, as I said, go for fastest lap. Bottas could be a bit of a problem for that. Bit of a problem child, but honestly, I think it's fine. And let's see now if we can nab that fastest lap in a, you know, quick and efficient manner here. But yeah, Tsunoda has gotten Leclerc. I think both cars should have no problem hunting down Verstappen here. So, it's looking very, very promising. Let's be honest. It's looking really, really good so far. Except for that one little mistake. Okay, we did snatch fastest lap, which honestly does not come as a surprise. And Rick will be on full attack till the end. We'll probably tune Tsunoda up to full attack in a little bit. But right now it does look like, yeah, again, we're not going to have any issues here. Even if Verstappen were to, say, push. As you can see there, we were 3 seconds quicker on that fastest lap attempt of ours. And we're generally running about 2 seconds quicker right now. Tsunoda's running a second. So, honestly, once we get DRS here, it should be no problem just overtaking him and getting going. So we'll just tune down to medium in terms of aggressiveness, just to be on the safe side. Again, it's just one overtake that we are basically guaranteed to complete here, so we don't need to worry too much. And there we go. And it should basically be the same here for Tsunoda. Provided, of course, that Rick actually gets away from Verstappen, which should be an issue. We have a bit of a yellow flag here with Schumacher. That was an amazing crash, I'll be honest. Basically turned in a little bit too aggressively. And he's still going, and I believe this is without a rear wing. No, it's still there. It just took a little bit of damage. Well, it's missing a chunk, aka a little bit of damage, but yeah. I think, as I said, for Tsunoda here, we will be able to catch Verstappen. We have about 6 laps to do it on. We were a bit slower that lap, but Verstappen had a little bit of a toe there from Rick. So it should still be okay. We still have a little bit of tire life. Worst case scenario, the last 4 laps or so, we just put him up to aggressive. We also have fuel we can push. So I am not concerned about catching Verstappen in. What we are going to do, though, is turn Rick down a little bit so that we don't risk, you know, incidents from pushing too aggressively. Last lap, about a second quicker. Well, a little bit less than that, but still, it is definitely acceptable from Tsunoda's point of view. And of course, beating Verstappen here is going to be vital for getting Rick a little bit better of a championship lead, a little bit more breathing space. And as we can see, Tsunoda is catching up, so that should be no problem at all. The question here is, I think we'll sit behind for this lap, because we'll probably be able to close down the gap here now with the DRS. Might even get the overtake done. But yeah, I think we'll sit behind for this lap, if we can. Overtaking DRS zone and then use ERS to just eke out a gap. And then we'll just coast to the finish line. That is going to be our best bet here. And it looks like Tsunoda kind of agrees. So, I'm going to put you to high overtake aggression now, just so that we get by. And even that wasn't enough, clearly. Okay. Is Verstappen kind of fighting back here? Is that what's going on? I'm going to tune it down to medium here before we have an incident, but it looks like we're just going to be sitting behind for one more lap. I assume Verstappen might actually be into, you know, the pushing stage right now, where he is going a little bit more aggressively at it. And we're going to give Tsunoda here full attack as well. See if that helps. Are we just too slow into the corners? There we go, on the inside. Okay, so Tsunoda's actually struggling to get away here, which could be bad. But I think we'll still be okay. I would hope so, at least. Yeah, it looks to be so. And honestly, unless something, you know, spectacular happens now, we should be safe, so I'm just going to speed things along a little bit. Like, say, Hulkenberg takes us out. That would be a tad spectacular. Yeah, Rick does win.
Oh, and it's Ricciardo for the win.
Tsunoda gets second, Verstappen third. Perez ends up 10th. Lines does decent recovery drive there, up into 5th.
That was a fantastic.
And where did actually the Mercs end up? They both actually fell out of the points. One stopper really not working out here, as you can see. It worked out really well for the Ferraris, but not for the Mercs. Worked out for Williams, worked out for Norris, got back into points there. Bit of a shame, though, because he was running in 5th for a while. But I guess he did get the last laugh over Paris there. With this, Rick extends his lead by another 11 points. Again, very important for us. Tsunoda catches up by 3 points to Verstappen. So at this pace, we'll not catch him for second place, but that's still okay. And we now have a very, very healthy lead in the Constructors. We are kind of getting beat, though, in the DHL, as you can see. We are 3rd and 4th this time around, so could be that next season, unless our Sporting Director has some drastic increases in form. That will be probably getting 2nd or maybe even 3rd place. But yeah, that was a very, very acceptable race. We have a couple of failed pieces that we'll get to fixing, but we do have that factory fire, so it'll have to be after Qatar, probably. Okay, so the financial regulation changes got voted down. And just to remind you, it was the cost cap. So honestly, I'm happy with that. But yeah, it did get denied, so to speak. The Science Center has been upgraded for next season, which is good. And as I said, I do want to kind of maximize the car bar test center here. 63 days, we're in September. We could do it towards the end of October, save a little bit of durability here. So we'll do that. Probably done the same for the design center, to be honest. Again, don't really need to refurbish these, so we will not. That might be fixed in a future patch, I would assume. factory fire. It has been solved. And I think what we can do is just go one day, like so. And then we'll go and have a look at, I believe it was the chassis and the suspension that suffered a failure. So we'll go ahead and replace both of those. Like so. There we are. Underfloor has been manufactured. We are catching up on our parts. And we'll just jump straight into Qatar here. Now, this is another sprint weekend, so we'll have to be tad careful. We're going to go fast lap. Again, I've said this before that it probably isn't worth it, but I do like to gamble, particularly in games, so we'll go ahead and do just that. Let's see how we do here at Lusail. Alright, we're ready for the sprint. As you can see, running full attack here might not be viable, but it might just about be. So what I think we're going to do is actually try and run full attack, because I can't remember right now if the degradation is higher than expected or lower than expected while running attack. So we're going to start with this, do it for like 5 or so laps. If it's higher than expected, we'll just have to tune down to aggressive. Lose a little bit of pace doing that, but again, this should be perfectly okay. We're estimated to start second and third. I believe both Red Bulls qualified ahead of us, so kind of doubt that. We'll probably start second row. But we'll... this is what we'll be going for. We didn't have the best setups either for practice, but that is just how it goes sometimes. Both of them close to 90%, but not over it. As you can see, we have both Red Bulls ahead as expected. Now, everyone else has actually chosen the soft compound, but I think the medium is going to be better here because we can be more aggressive, and that was a horrible start from Perez. And that did kind of also screw over Tsunoda because he was behind Perez. Interestingly enough, I'd like to see a replay of that if possible. But yeah, not the best start. The reason why also we've chosen to go for mediums over softs here, it is because it's 10 laps and then the mediums will be better than softs for 1, which honestly isn't that good for the sprint. But the main reason is actually because we can run attack potentially, and if we can pull off that attack run, it means that we will have a fairly decent pace advantage over the soft runners that will only grow bigger and bigger as the race goes on. So we're gonna see here. This might backfire horribly. It might turn out to be brilliant. One or the other. We'll see as we get closer to the end. But yeah, that is what I've opted to go for. Can it work? Maybe. Will it work? That's a different scenario, honestly. So for now, we'll just keep on pushing. We'll lose about 4% per lap there, as you can see. So it's just about fine, I think. I think we'll be just about fine. We'll have to see how much it costs us to take these last couple of turns. But yeah, we lose about a little bit less than 4%. So going full attack to the end is potentially viable, which could make this very, very fun. Particularly now that the others are going to start slowing down a little bit, as they have been pushing for the opening couple of laps. And yeah, we could, of course, as I said, tune down the tires for a couple of laps here. But I think we'll be just about above 30% by the time we get to the end of this race. And honestly, the goal here is, of course, going to be beat the Red Bulls. So we'll allow things to progress. I think we have a good chance. Here we are on the final lap of the sprint, just begun. And as you can probably see here, the tires are just going to go under that 30% mark. Tsunoda did catch up to Verstappen though, even with that bad start. But overtaking Verstappen is going to be very difficult. So with that in mind, I think the main goal is going to be to just see if we can have Rick win. Again, Tsunoda's tires have kind of given out now, but it should still be okay. Don't really have any energy. Probably should have recharged a little bit more than we did. So that is my bad, but we kind of needed to push just to keep up, basically. And we should be fine pushing fuel here to the finish line. Let's see if Tsunoda can get something done there. But with both cars having DRS, that is quite doubtful, as you can see. But first and third in the sprint, we'll take that for sure. That's not bad for us at all. I believe Norris there also was in the points, interestingly enough. And it was. So we'll see if Perez gets thrown down the order. Hopefully he will.
It's raced.
I almost started the race there. That would have been pretty bad. But yeah, we'll start first and third, and we'll have to see exactly what we want to do here. So the degradation is slightly less than expected, but not less enough that it's gonna make a huge difference. And as I said here, in terms of performance, we want to stay away from the hards. Mediums are going to be quicker than hards for a good 24 laps here. Excuse me. And the softs are going to be quicker than the mediums for at least 10 laps. So with that in mind, soft, medium, medium, if we have it, we can do it here. And we can for probably, I believe, both cars. Should be the most viable strategy. I think we're going to do reverse this though. When we finish on the softs. And this could work. Going aggressive the entire race should work out just fine. I'm sorry, I have a itchy nose, which is kind of making me speak weirder than normally. Although I do speak kind of weird to begin with. It just amplifies that. The itch just isn't going away. But yeah, I think that's what we'll do. It should be a pretty decent strategy for both cars. They're probably going to be running together this race, let's be honest. And it's just going to be how it is. But sometimes you don't really have too much of a choice on that one. So Verstappen is starting on softs. See another soft runner back there. Is that Rebel? Yeah, that's Perez. A few other soft runners here, but mainly just Verstappen and Perez in the top 10. So far though, Rick has gotten away well. Tsunoda is kind of challenging Verstappen. And if he can get by, it's going to be a pretty decent defense there for our boys. So we're just going to tune both down to be on the safe side. Although Tsunoda here, we can probably tune back up again. Honestly, just tune Rick back up too again. Basically, I wanted to, if Tsunoda was actually going to be running right behind Rick, we would have been probably benefited from tuning him down. But seeing as Verstappen is immediately back and fighting us, I don't think we really, have the option anymore. So Tsunoda is falling a little bit behind, which isn't that surprising. Verstappen is on softs, he's pushing. So, but again, he will within a couple of laps be falling backwards a little bit here once we tune down the tires, once we tune down the energy usage. I need to start remembering to put on the battle assist. And I probably should run harvest for these boys for a lap or so we have a little bit here to kind of play with. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's good. Again, Verstappen is running with Rick. Tsunoda is running with the rest of the pack. But honestly, he should have no problem getting the overtakes done a little bit later here. So what I'm thinking we're going to do now is run the fuel down to basically 1.5 kilos, like we do most of the time. We're going to try and keep Rick here with Verstappen, although it might be a little bit difficult. And hopefully we'll be seeing some gaps to start forming here in the pack. But yeah, we'll speed along, and honestly, right now it's looking good. Unfortunately, we're going to have to restart this race because, well, you can probably see why, but yeah. Oh, nope, did not fix itself. So, this is a bit of an interesting one because, well, you can hear that clicking works, but certainly something is not right. So we're going to restart this. So far, though, it's gone well, lap 20. But yeah, we'll restart to see if we can get back to this stage. And on the restart here, we immediately have a bit of an incident. So race is already pretty different. Unfortunately, Hamilton crashes with the Williams, I think. Yeah. Bit unfortunate, but yeah. We'll see, as I said, we'll try and get to lap 20, see if we can retain somewhat of the same. Well, I'll not be doing anything different, and we'll be seeing what the AI does instead. But it is what happens sometimes, and I'll just be forthcoming with you all whenever these bugs do happen, because it could seem a little bit weird. Yeah, that was a bit of an interesting one. But for now, as I said, I'll be trying to do things exactly as I did last time around. Remembering to put on battle assist now, for instance, do a little bit of harvesting. And as I said, I'll be trying to make kind of a carbon copy of what we did get to the point last time around. Of course, it might not be identical, but hopefully we will get pretty close to it. It looks pretty good now, except for that Hamilton incident. So we'll speed things along, and we'll see if we can somewhat recreate what happened for the first attempt. So we'll have a little bit of a change here. Verstappen is pitting now. We are going to be pitting fairly soon as well. But interestingly enough, we were keeping up with Verstappen for this entire stint. And you can even see that I tried some shenanigans over here to slow down the car, but it didn't actually work. It just slowed down both Rick and Verstappen, interestingly enough, and actually allowed Tsunoda and Sainz to close the gap quite effectively. Let's just say it like that. So it was a bit of a weird one, honestly. Probably do need to harvest a little bit here now, since we are running empty batteries. But yeah, I couldn't really completely recreate it. Rick just couldn't get him away from Verstappen, which is weird, honestly. But it is what happened. We are getting close to our pit stop though, and we are going to be pushing these mediums a little bit more, I think, just to be on the safe side. So yeah, it's looking fairly good here. We'll take that. I think that most of the issues that we've had, well, seen with kind of races being actually up with this bogged down like that, is actually a result of the game, you know, introducing something that's happening. Because when I had the bug last time around, it was basically the pit stop pop-up that happened. Like, they popped the pit stop window is available, and that was what kind of caused a little bit of concern, well, problems, not really concern, that time around. The pit stop popped up, this thing popped up, and I clicked something else at the same time. And that's what has seemingly been the main issue when things like that has happened, that I've clicked more than one thing at once, because I do press space a lot just to slow down the game, because I do play at fairly high speeds sometimes. So I think clicking and hitting space maybe at the same time, as well as something else happening, is probably the main reason why you're seeing those weird in-game bugs, I would assume. But of course, we'll probably get a bit of a better, you know, explanation from the air down the line once they actually fix it. But it is what it is. You just have to live with it, honestly. Those bugs can happen, but honestly, it's already a lot better than it was when the game first came out, so we'll take that. Now, we have done the first pit stop. Tsunoda is going to have a bit of a rough job because he's the last man in the DRS train of 4 cars. Ricky is going to have a little bit of an easy job, and Tsunoda is also going to have a bit of an easy job now because everyone is actually pitting. For Verstappen, he went onto those hard tires, which means he's probably going to stay on them till the end, or he's going to pit onto a soft stint by, well, the very, very end here. Perez is probably going to be pitting again. Piastri is going to be pitting again. The Sovereign is going to be pitting again. But most of the cars that are in the top 10 that aren't us aren't going to be pitting again. And we actually have Norris running second. But again, he has yet to pit. So not a big surprise there. Now, Tsunoda getting by car in front should be a bit of a priority for us. So we'll tune him up to attack. Give him a little bit more aggressiveness. And he's already used that full battery. So the battery drain around this track is actually massive by the looks of things. And both cars there just kind of flew by Norris. So I would like, of course, to get away from Verstappen, which is also why we're going to be pushing a little bit more aggressively here on anything that we have. Because we do not want to be the toe that Verstappen gets to enjoy. And that is kind of what's happening right now. And we're not actually pulling away from him either, so a bit concerned, honestly. High degradation isn't too bad now either for neither car, so we're going to go attack it for the rest of the stint, I think. And again here, we have run into zero fuel. We have a virtual safety car. We're going to keep everything neutral here so that we don't get slowed down. And once again, it is Schumacher. That is...
very sorry.
That's a bit of a harder hit than last time around. Probably going to be a tad more costly. Now, Norris actually gets a fairly free pit stop. He just barely beats Gasly out there. Gasly being a little bit respectful there, I think, and not overtaking. So I believe he would have had the right in the proper race, but it is what it is. We are going to tune down fuel usage. We are going to just remain on attack here because the VSC is going to save us a lot of tire. We'll have to see what we do with energy, because as I said, they use a lot on just a regular lap here. Probably more than what they should. So, we'll see here exactly how this race plays out, but for now it's looking really good. We have Rick, we have Tsunoda, we have gaps to, once we actually do our second pit stop. So for now, we'll just speed along until we reach said moment. We're getting very closer to that pit stop of ours, the final one. We're basically there. But as you can see, we actually haven't been able to leave Verstappen behind. We've tried several times, and he is just flying on those horns. So I'm wondering if they're actually more effective here, and the game just isn't, you know, telling you. Because the mediums should have an advantage for basically their entire life cycle. We got on them later as well. So I'm a bit surprised here that he actually is as quick as he is. So Noda is going to come and have a little bit of a harder job getting back up here. As you can see, he has 3 cars he needs to overtake. Paris is going to need to pit though, so fairly soon at that as well. So he should not be a problem, which should make it a little bit easier. But I'm wondering here, just how long it's going to take us to catch up to Verstappen. Because as I said, he has been flying kind of on those hard tires of his. But looks at this right now, it shouldn't be that long. We already gained a couple of seconds there. And I think Tsunoda will have a pretty easy time to getting by. It'll just depend on how long Paris is planning to stay out on those broken mediums, because he is going to have to pit again. And honestly, at this point, there's no point in him staying out any longer. He's not going to get any benefits from doing so. So, I'll see exactly what he is planning. Now, 22.8 versus 24.8. I'd say we have a pretty healthy chance there. And if Tsunoda can keep up that 2-second gap closing, he'll even catch Verstappen as well. So it's looking rather promising. Now I'm going to give Tsunoda a little bit of, you know, energy help here. So we maybe can get by those boys. And again, this Paris should have, yeah, basically broken at this stage mediums. That's going to make his life a little bit harder. But we're up into 4th. Should be able to close down on Sainz. And then probably get Sainz in this following lap here. So, honestly, looking very promising. Verstappen is pushing a bit more now, though. As you can see, we just gained a second. So, we'll have to see. If we can save these tires a little bit as we are now, we can probably go attack the last, like, 5 laps, which should make life a little bit easier. But we're looking good here. Both drivers have peak confidence. Tsunoda has gotten by. I think if we want him to be able to actually attack Verstappen, we are going to have to go a little bit aggressive now in terms of closing down that gap. So we'll do that right away. But as you can see here, Tsunoda and Rick are just flying. Both of them are flying. Tsunoda here with the 21.9. So again, if you can keep that up, we'll catch Verstappen. But we'll see. For now, though, we do have Rick trying to get by. And we're going to use everything at our disposal right now to get away from him, so that we can actually have a bit of a chance here for Tsunoda to attack. The only way Tsunoda gets to attack Verstappen here is, of course, if we pull out of the DRS really, really quickly. And the energy problem of doing so is another thing we need to deal with. I think we did pull it off 5 laps ago, 65%. I think it's doable, just about. Gonna be close, but it should be doable, I would again think. Now, in terms of how hard we're cooking these tires, I believe we are still, again, a little bit to go on, 5 degrees. So we have a lot of freedom in how we do this, and Tsunoda is still very effectively 2.2 seconds gained there, chasing down Verstappen. So we'll have to see what we do with these tires, because we're down to 50% now. I think we'll have to tune down to aggressive for a lap or two. Basically, aggressive should still allow us to catch him within this lap. Then you still have to close in. Well, we're actually closing in quite aggressively on this lap, so we might not even need that. And then I guess we just go attack it and try and pull away. Push fuel, push deploy, and that should be us kind of safely getting away now from Verstappen. And we have pulled that off. It did cost us everything though, so that is a bit of a concern.
Back off, back off, back off.
But I think now, since we are on final lap,
You can lift off to avoid instability.
we shouldn't have any problems now. Just tune down, relax a little bit, and we pull off the same result as last race, provided of course that we don't have a last second incident here. But with just a couple of corners to go for Tsunoda, Rick over the line,
Oh, and it's Ricciardo
it's
for the win.
it's honestly a pretty good result. He will take that. Norris ends up in 4th with the McLaren, so kind of want to see how
That was a fantastic performance.
the McLaren is actually shaping up right now in terms of how good it is, because Norris could have gone 5th last race, ended up 9th because of an issue, and Piastri is still down into 16th. So I'd really like to see exactly how the McLaren is currently shaping up versus, say, our car. So Verstappen 3rd, Perez not in the points. Aston's, the Alpines finish out at the bottom here. We have the Ferraris in the middle, and then we have Norris. With this though, in the Drivers' Championship now, we have a very, very healthy lead. We can DNF for a couple of races, which is always nice to, you know, have as a safety net. Tsunoda here is once again catching up a little bit more since we got fastest lap. And in the Constructors now, I think we have that one in the bag. DHL, we actually beat the Red Bulls this time around, which is nice. We did 2 stops, they did 1. We had better chances there to, you know, make that happen. And we get a pretty healthy performance guarantee payout here from our finish position streak. So definitely take that. Performance rating for Rick goes up to 86. He's been doing well. He's leveling up. Take that. And we have a bunch of failed parts here, so we do have a little bit of work ahead of us now to not only replace them, but manufacture new ones. So let's go and have a look at what we are currently making. We're making chassis and suspension. And we do need an underfloor. And we should be needing a side pod as well. 2 side pods. Let's get them underway. But yeah, we have Dakota in 11 days, so we still have a few, you know, a little bit of time to get these parts made. Suspension has been manufactured there, as you can see, so we'll be going probably for another one, I think. Did we not need 2? We did, so we'll just make another one right away. Like so. Month took over, which means that we have a few things that we need to get in order. Driver development update. Let's see here. Rick gets a point in reactions. Tsunoda gets 2 points, plus 1 in adaptability. Not really the corner we wanted. Reactions is nice, though. Should help with, you know, kind of avoiding accidents, hopefully. And the car development report here, we'll check this once we get to the race weekend itself, to be on the, you know, actually safe side. Now, our pit crew here is actually, as you can see, getting a little bit of a mistake chance here, but I believe that is because we're going to be tied by the end of the month. So the only thing we really need to take care of here is just make sure that we don't go into that weary state for the races. We aren't, and there shouldn't be a 4-header here, so this should be a free weekend. So let's just go ahead and accept that, you know, the plan by staff, so to speak. That should be okay to use in this case. Chassis has been manufactured, which is good. We're now caught up on the chassis. We'll go ahead and have a bit of a look here because I believe we need still rear wings. Nope. Front wings, need 1. Go ahead and get that one made. In terms of research, we should have some projects finishing soon. 2, well, 1 of them before Coda, 2 of them right after. And I have to see what I want to do with the CFD time here. We might actually do suspension. I've been talking about this before, but it might be a good idea here. Sponsor application for October 14th. What exactly is that? Driver media appearance. I believe that is money, so... Yeah, sorry, Rick. You're just going to have to live with a little bit of a lowered morale for a couple of weeks here. It be how it be. Underfloor, front wing manufactured, which means that we are now basically caught up on parts with the suspension there as well, I believe. So that is looking really good. The suspension research has been completed, and honestly, we should probably just do another one. It's one of those parts that has fallen a little bit behind, and it does give us a decent amount of low-speed cornering, which is kind of hard to come by. The brake cooling is also extremely nice to have, so we'll go ahead and take this for sure. And we are ready to jump straight into Coda. Now, finish position, I think we can go here for a driver in the top 5. Top 3 here is probably doable, but again, top 5 just gives us that little bit of wiggle room where, well, we can't catch top 3 because they're getting, you know, pushed ahead. But a single race of putting a driver in top 3 here should be doable, so we'll take that. Both drivers in Q2 and Q3, again, shouldn't be an issue at all. We'll take that for sure. And let's jump to Coda here and see if we can eke out another 1-2. We are immediately ready for another sprint weekend here at Coda. And, well, early years, hards have been pretty good. This year, not so much. Hards going to be about quicker than mediums. Well, mediums are going to be quicker than hards, rather, for 12, 13, 14 laps or so. So they still have a bit of more of an advantage this time around. Softs are going to be quicker than mediums for just under 10 laps. So balance-wise, tires are pretty good there. It is a short pit lane though, so 2-stop is basically what we're going to be going for. And seeing that it is a sprint weekend here, we are probably going to use that. Use a medium side here, I think. As you can see, no matter what we do here, it's not really going to change the race. The race pace here, we could of course try and do the hard. Would be about 13 seconds. It's potentially a slightly quicker than you can see here. The medium strategy, but it is so little that I think it's better for us to just start in the mediums and move on from there. So I think that's what we're going to do. It's kind of a hard one, this one. If you have high smoothness, you can probably push a little bit more aggressively on the mediums. But I'm thinking we're going to do is just go on the mediums. We're going to run them standard, and we're probably not going to get as good as a result as we usually do doing that, because we're usually pretty aggressive on our strategies, but it's probably the better one that we have in store here. And then we can maybe, if we have extra tire life or degradation slower than expected, go up to aggressive or even full on attack for the last couple of laps maybe. So that is going to be the plan here. Nothing too, you know, fabulous or amazing. It says we're going to start 1 and 2 again, but that is incorrect. We're going to be starting 3rd and 4th. And basically everyone around us has eaten penalties, so it's going to be a very interesting... race start there, because there's a lot of penalties that will need to be applied. So Ricky gets a really, really good start. Kind of, I guess, ahead of Paris already. Can he retain that, though, is going to be the question here. Looks like he can make that happen. And as you see, everyone is on those medium tires, so we'll see exactly how this does plan out. So Noda is even fighting Paris right now. Almost got him. So, again, pretty good start. Paris does come back, though, so we'll have to see exactly how we want to, again, play this. I think we're just going to tune down the tires already a little bit. And we are going to be kind of aggressively here using probably 400 grams of fuel. That should be good enough. Do need to turn on the ballast assist, of course, before I forget. And as you can see, immediately after turning down our tires a little bit here, we are kind of falling behind. So, might need to tune them back up, but as Paris and Leclerc battles, we should be just about close enough here that we'll have, hopefully, DRS by the time we get to the to this straight here. And it looks like it won't be a problem. So, Verstappen has actually gotten kind of detached, which is beautiful for us, honestly. It's kind of what we like to see. And we will tune our own tires down now. We will tune our own fuel down, and probably tune the ERS down a little bit too. And we'll run like this to probably the end. We'll have to see again how bad the degradation actually is, if we can run a little bit more aggressive. But for now, we'll be happily running in 3rd and 4th. And we'll see if we can maybe overtake Paris and catch...
Try to cool down the tires again when you can. Cool down the tires while you can.
And catch the Ferrari of Leclerc.
Yep.
But both Paris and Leclerc does have new components here. And I don't know if it's the engine. It is. And it's the same for Paris, I would assume. Yeah, so both Paris and Leclerc has got new engines for this race weekend, which is going to make them a little bit harder for us to deal with when we can't really, you know, use strategy to our advantage. But we'll allow things to kind of speed along here, and we'll see where we're at in 15 or so laps.
Okay,
We've had a bit of an incident here where I believe we've taken out each other. That's going to suck.
And there, the cars make contact.
Luckily, no, you know, extreme damage there, but I believe the tires might be kind of gone. And we have some major front wing damage, and we have some minor front wing damage. So that's a bit unfortunate. Rick also gets a 5-second penalty, so we're going to have a pretty bad start here for the race itself. We did lose a little bit of tie here too. So what we're going to have to do here is actually just stay out, honestly. We don't really have any choice. If we pit, we're going to be starting in the back. It's just 2 laps to go. Tsunoda does have major front wing damage though, so bit of an unfortunate incident for sure, but they do happen. I should probably check if this was a weaker when Tsunoda was lowered on this control stat, although Rick did get the blame there. But you can actually see Tsunoda just falling backwards here. And there's nothing really we can do about that. It is what it is. And can probably just go full on attack at this point. Try and make something out of this. Because, well, we're going to be starting a little bit further back as a result.
Charles Leclerc is today's winner.
Could have deployed the RS too, but honestly at that point, I don't think it would have mattered too much. So Rick's probably going to stop behind Tsunoda. With that time penalty, we'll see. But yeah, that was not a good race for us. And as said, there's a bunch of penalties here, so we might still get moved up. But we're starting 11th and 12th for the race itself. Not a good result, honestly. But it is what it is. I do want to have a quick look here though and see what we are looking at in terms of damage to the parts. It doesn't look like any damage to the parts themselves, which is good. This is what we want to use. Yep. And that actually does put us in kind of a predicament here because we're now kind of out of front wings. So I might want to start making more. We're also kind of out of side pods. We definitely need to get that fixed before the, next weekend. And interestingly enough here, Rick starts 6th, but Tsunoda starts 12th. This confuses me slightly, but I would assume everyone has been demoted to, 11th maximum. Which would be kind of hilarious, but it is what it is. Now, in terms of what we want to do here for strategy, I think what we want to do is a 2-stopper, of course. I think we're going to start on... Do I not have more than one medium? Have one medium. We have 2 mediums here. Okay, so Rick's going to use 2 mediums for the soft, most likely. Or we might want to start on the hard and just go full attack, but as you can see, it's going to fall off a cliff. So we could do medium, medium, hard. Something like this could work. We're going to be aggressive the entire way. I think that is actually the best choice we have here for Rick, or do something like this instead, where we do the hard stint in the middle. This could work. And for Tsunoda, we have basically a lot less opportunity. I think we're going to start him on the hards. We are going to start him on the... Does he actually have 2 sets of hards? It does. Okay, so we can actually run hard on attack. Okay, this actually forces some opportunities on what we want to do here. So hard, medium. Again, I would kind of like to avoid the hards here, but if we can run them on full attack, it might be worth to do it. So full attack ain't going to be possible. But attack and aggressive should, for sure. And it's actually going to be quicker, in theory, I believe, than... let's see here. 31-21. 31-22. So basically same amount of pace here. Just very aggressive on those hard stints. And honestly, I think this is what we're going to have to do. It's just how it's going to have to be. Tires do get eaten here, Coda still. So hard, medium for Tsunoda. And medium, hard, medium for Rick. So Rick starts there. Tsunoda's there. We have a Norris, I assume, and an Alpine. So still not going to have probably a good time here. But I will admit that if someone were to be kind of promoted out of Tsunoda and Rick, I would prefer Rick to be promoted purely because, well, he is the one that's fighting Verstappen. So we'd like to keep doing that. Now, we're the only ones who have elected to start on the hards. Everyone else has elected to start on mediums or softs. That is going to make this first lap probably a little bit interesting. Yeah, if Tsunoda can hold on to 12th there, not fall backwards, and also, get into DRS of Sainz, he should have decent chance there of making something happen. But at this point, we're basically where we started. It's not too surprising, honestly. And the main thing here will be to try and get Rick into, of course, higher up on the table. And he gets Norris immediately, which is actually very important because Norris is going to be slower than the rest of the pack here. Same for Gasly and Hamilton. The quicker you get by them and start chasing Alonso and Verstappen, the better. But at the same time, we are kind of limited here on tires. And that's what's going to actually, you know, decide our... to some degree, decide our fate here. Tsunoda is going to try his best to, of course, make up for that little bit of incident that we had with him and Rick. But at the same time, we're starting on the hards. It's going to take probably 10 laps here before we start getting any overtakes done. But again, it's hard to, you know, hard to know what to do here because we didn't really have much tire. We could, of course, run a standard strat, soft, medium, soft, but I think we're going to try and experiment here with running a very aggressive hard stint. For Rick 2, we'll have to see exactly what we can do with catching and getting by the cars in front here. Doesn't look like it will be too troublesome. So I'll put in some work here, and we'll see what we can do. We've had a bit of an incident here. It is a safety car. Rick has unfortunately just left the...
There's a yellow flag now.
Just drove him past the pits here, so that's going to suck for him. Same here for Tsunoda, really. Couldn't really gotten in the pits even if he wanted to. And looks like Norris is out.
Safety car.
This does mean that we're kind of going to have to pit here. It's just what it is. Time penalty for Norris. I didn't actually see what happened there. Apparently it's getting a lot of time penalties. And yet another... okay. Again, I missed the replay button there. That's my bad. Now, we are going to, as I said, have to pit here. And we did kind of mess up. As you can see, though, no one ahead of us did pit, though. So I assume everyone is still going to have to pit here. And we are going to get Rick in immediately here onto that hard stint. It's... you probably can actually run it attack, probably. And we are just going to replace Tsunoda's tires here, too. So it's just very unfortunate when it happened because, again, Norris was running behind both of our drivers. Couldn't really react to it, and that is just how it be sometimes. Rick looks like he's going to come out in the same position he went in. Tsunoda actually kind of benefited, I believe, or stay in the same position. So we'll take this. And as you can see, most people went on to hards or mediums. So those hard runners, again, it's going to be very, very difficult to keep those hards alive till the end of the race. So looking forward to seeing exactly how this is going to play out. And for Rick here too, we're going to go aggressive once the safety car is over. But yeah, again, didn't actually see what happened. Just time penalty for Norris. I did kind of get a little bit baffled there. Thought out. I was more focused on, you know, getting our cars in if we could. And honestly, probably should have just hit the pause key there. But it is what it is. We still benefited. I'm just, as I said, a little bit curious about how we got a penalty. It means he should have, you know, hit a car. But I have no clue who he hit. So, kind of hard to judge. This is a fairly long safety car though, so we have a lot extra fuel now. Pushing is definitely going to be on the table.
In this lap. Get ready.
As you can see, we start with Verstappen out front, then Alonso, then us, Leclerc, Perez, Ocon, Stroll, then Tsunoda. So, made a little bit of progress here for Tsunoda, but not a lot. So, let's see what we can do here on the restart. Because now there's only Stroll. Of course, on the mediums, same here for Perez, are going to be a bit of a threat. But generally here, I don't think we're going to have too many problems here. Unless Tsunoda, you know, takes out Stroll instead. But yeah, it looks like we had a pretty decent restart here. Tsunoda is chasing Stroll, as you saw. And we are going to have a lot of extra fuel that we can push pretty aggressively till probably, you know, 10 or so laps, maybe even more than that. Honestly, 15 is probably more like it. So we might have some few. We might have, you know, a decent push potentially. And someone is, you know, doing some work here because I can actually feel the floors rumble. So if the microphone picks up some knocking noises, it's from It's from someone doing renovations downstairs, I think. But yeah, Tsunoda is kind of falling behind right now, unfortunately. It's not too surprising. But we are all still in one DRS train. I think the AI is still pushing, and they are. So you see they're pushing a little bit more aggressive than we are this time around. But I think that's fine. And we'll have to see exactly how we want to do it here in terms of pushing. But for now, I think we'll run aggressively for the next like 10 or so laps. Well, maybe not 10. But we'll run a little bit just aggressively, and then we'll go full attack a little bit later. So for now, we'll just sit where we are. We aren't really in, you know, a bad spot or anything like that. So notice even attacking Stroll. Might even attack the Alpine here very shortly as well. So we'll start to, as I said, work on getting ourselves up into the podium places. See if we can actually fight Verstappen by the end of this. We have another safety car immediately. But Tsunoda's made it up a place. Rick is still running third. So let's see who actually crashed out this time around. Okay.
Dangerous.
Gasly was not happy. Let's put it like that. Did Gasly get the penalty too? He did. We have cars pitting again. I guess they're going on to a hard tire till the end of the race then, I would assume. Okay, that was a magical pit stop. Show also has a bit of a spin, so... Some interesting things going on, let's just put it like that. But yeah, we are definitely staying out, because we're going to stay on these hards and then do a final medium stint. It's just how we're going to have to do things. If the AI pits, it would honestly not be too bad for us. Like say if they have an extra set of hards for the most part. And they're actually all pitting, so... As I said, honestly not too bad for us because we'll be able to kind of hold them back to some degree. Could honestly put them on always attack because those mediums are not going to last till the end, so they're going to have to pit again. Are they going medium to soft? I think Stroll might try and go to the end. Nah, he won't. What's happening is they're actually going medium to soft. Okay, that could be really, really bad for us. We're going to be about 6, 7, 8 tenths slower than them. So yeah, I might have made a huge miscalculation here on... you know, staying out on these hards. But we'll see. Tsunoda, you are going to be the hero we all needed. Again, we're going to play for Rick here. And we're going to have Tsunoda kind of sacrifice himself by going always attack. And we're going to keep the overtake direction low though. Oh, sorry, always defend. And see if we can, you know, keep them behind. Give Rick a little bit of a gap there to work with.
Safety car in this lap.
So let's see if we get immediately overtaken here, or if we're going to be kind of safe. But the fact that the AI is very trigger happy with the safety cars is nice to see. They weren't like that in 22 at all, so it's a massive improvement. But I'd also like to see the other end of the spectrum, because right now they all just pit. I'd like to see some of them maybe try and stay out, you know, cause some problems. Because right now, as I said, they don't do that. Like, they don't do alternate strategies, they all do the same thing for the most part. Looks like Verstappen is already going to get Tsunoda, so yeah. We're just going to have to go a little bit more on the attacking side here, just push the tires. Again, the longer Rick is a problem here, and, you know, causes damage to Verstappen's tires, to everyone else's tires, the better. So, we are going to go full attack, as you can see, we have a lot of time to go on. So, Verstappen is going to get away, unfortunately, but we can try and fight Alonso, we can try and fight Perez, and kind of alleviate the bleeding a little bit, but yeah, we might have wanted to pit ourselves there. Verstappen right now running a full second quicker than us. Almost 2 seconds quicker on that lap. So with that in mind, we are kind of holding up the cars behind, but we're also getting away from Alonso somewhat, so... I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one, this, right now. And we once again have our cars running together, which is even more dangerous. And as I mentioned that, we actually crash.
So here we go, heading into turn 1. Not a lot of wiggle room here. Oh, that's quite an impact between them. And that won't do their confidence.
Looks like it's just a light tap, so why is he parked there?
Update on tires, please.
Chassis and front wing. Chassis suspension.
Okay, copy that.
Did that destroy his gearbox? Because he had more gearbox to go on. That's gonna be... yeah, that's gonna be bad. Okay, so we're gonna have to get him in because his tie is gone. And he even ate a penalty. Okay, for Ricky, we might just do soft. We might not have a choice, but to do soft. We could stretch one soft tire. But I think this is the better option here. Just go aggressive right from now on and run soft. It's a bit of a shame that our drivers have decided that this weekend we are going to have errors. Particularly also because with the amount of parts that we've destroyed before next weekend, it's going to make life even harder. So, yeah. It's not great. Let's put it like that. And so Noda is now getting overtaken immediately. So see... since we no longer have that DRS shield of having one of our drivers in front, the other DRSing behind. So we're getting immediately overtaken. So yeah, I should tune both of them down, honestly. We'll keep Tsunoda as he is for now. Rick there also with a pit stop error, I believe. So just extra pain all around. But yeah, bit unfortunate. See what we can make of it though. There's not really much we can do here. So Verstappen is most likely going to get a bunch of points on us. Rick here with a good 22 seconds to Schumacher, and then another, 7 seconds up to back at that DRS train. 20 laps to go. What can we do? We'll have to see. 36.8 on that one, but this is probably the proper out lap. But if the damage is so severe that we are kind of struggling to catch up, we might just go ahead and retire him. 36.4. He's running quicker. But I don't think it's going to be quick enough. That's the thing. That is the main concern. And for Tsunoda here, we can't really do much. We just need to keep him out until we can pit him. And honestly, he is falling backwards. The damage, of course, is not helping to chassis front wing. And honestly, it is what it is. Can't really replace that front wing either, but with minor damage, it should be okay.
And we keep an eye on the tire temperatures. We will keep
So,
an eye on tire temperatures.
I'm thinking we get Tsunoda in this lap. Put him on those mediums. It's going to be a bit of a gap there in the back, but that is just how it's going to have to be. Ricky now has made up a place, but again, we're going to be pitting him again fairly soon. So, it's not going to be great. Now, depending on what these guys do, because I assume they're going to be pitting again, we could, of course, jump some of them now with the pit stop that we have done. And I might be going a tad too quick here, but honestly... Okay, can I be allowed to change to another strategy, please? Yeah, had a bit of fun. Had a large amount of bugs this time around. This one is probably pretty bad too. Tsunoda here now is actually just pushing on, basically dead tires. I can't change him. Can I change him in the strategy view? Nope. Does that fix the issue? It did. Okay, so that did at least fix that issue, but that was kind of spooky, honestly. Yeah, that was not optimal. And Tsunoda did get kind of held up here too. But we should get the Ferrari at least. And again, we just need to try and get him onto as high as we can. Rick here, running in 16th. Still is going to need to pit again. So again, not great. Not great at all. It's just going to have to be how it is. Tsunoda also couldn't actually jump past anyone here because we are getting held up once again by other cars. So we are kind of losing out at this point. Losing out badly at that. Paris now pits. we do jump him at least. And we are going to be pitting Rick here too. His final pit stop, and we'll see where he ends up. We are in the points right now. In terms of who needs to pit, Alonso, Ocon, Show, Russell will not pit, Hamilton. So we do have 4 cars in front of us that will have to pit at one point. So it's not necessarily bad at this stage. We still have potential. But it's also not very, you know, it's not amazing. Let's put it like that. It's not the best thing ever to have to deal with things in this manner. And the fact that they come together on the sprint and then the race itself too is very, very unfortunate for us. But that is racing. Sometimes you have very clean races. Sometimes you have incident after incident. Yeah, we do luckily have a bit of a gap, but the gap that we've been creating over the last few weekends is basically going to go back to 0. Well, 50 points was the starting point there, so not really 0-0, but you get what I mean. And Tsunoda here should potentially get a 4th place. Maybe even higher if he can catch up to Perez. So it's not all bad at this stage, honestly. The main thing here will be, can Rick close down the 15 seconds he needs to get in the points? I honestly kind of doubt that, but we'll do the best that we can. I think we'll just go full attack here now on these tires and just completely send it. Because we don't really have a choice in that discussion, so to speak. If we want to have any chance of getting into the points here with Rick, it's going to have to be by aggressively using the tires that we have now. Even to, you know, a dangerous degree. Tsunoda is up to 4th now. He's running on his own here. We can hope for Leclerc to pull off something amazing. I don't think we can snatch fastest lap either with our current situation.
Okay, tires are hot.
So we'll just have to deal with that. The main thing now is just to kind of pay attention so I don't run out of fuel. Rick is aggressively gaining though, let's be honest here. He is now just 3 seconds away from points. So we might need to micromanage him a little bit more here. Give him a bit of push here so he can catch up to the main straight. We have 2 cars here kind of battling ahead of us with Piastri and Bottas, which of course isn't good for us. We also have Gasly pitting, which is really good for us. So might actually get Rick here at least 1 point. I think should be doable. But yeah, honestly, if I had more time, I'd probably take this a little bit slower. I'll have to see if I might slow down to like 5 episodes a week, just so that they don't feel rushed, because that is what I'm feeling that I kind of have to do. I have to rush to get things done, because work is a bit stressful at the moment. We're lacking a lot of people, and also just life in general is quite busy. So I'll have to see what I do, if I might tone down the daily releases to kind of make up for that. It might just be that I won't have really a choice, or, you know, make shorter episodes that basically is maybe a race, maybe 2 races. Because depending on what happens in the race, making one of these episodes can take everything from a couple of hours to 4 or 5. At the most extreme. Usually I take about 3 or 4 with editing included. So it depends on a few things here. Now we have pushed Rick a little bit too far, I think, so we'll just tune him down slightly. But he is back in the points, so not a complete tragedy on his part. And final lap here is getting started, so going full attack here should still be okay.
We can cancel lift off.
Although not really necessary, because we're still gaining a second, but we are 4 seconds behind. So honestly, not much to do there. The main concern right now I'm actually going to have is we are in the first race of a 3-header. We have completely destroyed our store of front wings.
Checker flag.
We have destroyed our store of chassis. We might need to use some older parts here on the next races. Leclerc did win though, so that limits kind of the damage done to us. But it's still not, as I said, a great thing at all. Well, Tsunoda gets 12 points, Rick gets 1. Leclerc also gets fastest lap, so that's another point that we get saved there from Verstappen, and Verstappen ends up getting 17 points on us. Red Bull also will have a huge gap, jump in terms of catching up on the gap, but I think that one is more than healthy enough that we don't need to worry. Aston here, 5th and 8th. We have Sainz, the other Ferrari in 6th. Alpine and Mercedes finishing out the points. So yeah, we still have, the gap is back to when we started, 50 points, which honestly is not too bad. It's still pretty good, let's be honest. We don't have too many races left of the season. There should be 4. So 4 races, 50 points. I'd say that is rather healthy. We can DNF twice. Still be safe as long as he doesn't get fastest lap. So we'll take that. With the constructors then, they do cash up a little bit, but we have 160 points basically there, so no worries. Pit Stop Championship, we're looking good. Mercedes have basically gotten good as well. There should be a little bit more split now in where the points go, which will help us. And as you can see here, he also had that pit stop error. It's been a while since we've seen one though, so we'll take it when everything else goes wrong as well. And we did fail to do finish position there apparently. Was it the top 5 or did I make a mistake again? Well, it is what it is. Some research has completed, chassis side pods. We also manufactured a side pod, but as I said here, we are going to have a quick look at the parts themselves. And as you see, we've actually straight up run out of chassis. And we will not be able to get them made for Mexico. It just isn't possible. So we're going to have to put probably Tsunoda here in a bit of a compromised position. Because you can see just how much slower that second chassis is compared to the first one. Look at the cornering ability. So yeah. That's going to put him in a very, very compromised position, as I said. And the front wings here as well is going to be a bit, you know, bad. But we are going to be able to get a new one of these made, and it's not a huge difference. So it should still be okay. The rear wing here, we have one spare still, and they usually don't, you know, explode too much. So we'll wait with those. Underfloor is looking good. Suspension is looking okay. So let's get one of those made for now. And do we have more manufacturing capability right now? We do. So I'm thinking that we're going to put the remaining one on that side pod. It should be okay. So there we are. Kind of caught up with the damage, but at the same time, that is not good. Now, the gearbox that Rick was running wasn't actually great or anything. I think it was 60%. But even so, destroying it like that is not going to help us at all. He does have an extra one that we'll be using for the rest of the races, but even so, I'm not a fan of it getting destroyed. But luckily, it looks like the engines, the ERSs, are mostly fine. And Tsunoda is actually on his final gearbox, so him not destroying his is actually far more important than Rick not destroying his own, to put it that way. Now, we did have those 2 research projects finishing, and honestly, we're just going to start new ones right away. Probably the same ones, chassis and side pods. They are the ones that suffered the most, but as you can see, engine cooling is getting kind of high, with 83% now. We still need a little bit of drag reduction and airflow, so we'll still put in a project here. It's kind of, as you can see, very minor gains, but we'll take it. For now. Side pod, a little bit more, but still pretty minor, but we'll take that as well. The main thing here that we can do next season is tune down the engine cooling on both of those parts, get a little bit more performance out of them. So that is going to be good. Now, we do have Mexico coming up, and past this lap, we can kind of try and go for qualifying position, both cars in the top 10. Should be doable, even with that damage that Tsunoda is currently going to have to do with the chassis. But as I said, I'm going to have to end it here. Unfortunately, I would really like to do Mexico, and probably even the rest of the races too, if I could. But we've had a few eventful races, so it's been what it has been. As I said, we'll have to see what we do going forwards, because life is coming at me kind of, not really hard, but more like busy. So it does limit what I can do. So we'll have to see if I might tune down the... what's it called? Tune down how often I release them, maybe like 5 a week or so, and have them be more like the first one, so I have a lot more time where I can take my time and actually, you know, not feel rushed. I might also just make them a tad shorter, which will kind of serve the same purpose. So let me know what you think about that, because again, it is, I make it this because I enjoy it, but at the current moment with these kind of rushed episodes, I'm not enjoying it as much as I did when I started out. So I think I'm probably going to either slow down. Hopefully the most of my business will be solved this week. Or as I said, just make up a little bit shorter episodes. So again, let me know what you think. Sorry for probably being a bit complaining in this video. I am a bit stressed with what's been going on. In terms of streaming, I'm thinking of maybe doing a stream tomorrow rather than an episode. We'll have to see. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have tolerated my complaining, please like and subscribe. It helps out a ton. And I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye bye.